Hello, you're welcome. If you are writing Jamb for 2026, this video is for you. And we're going to be looking at arithmetic progression, also called linear sequence. But before we move on, please don't forget to like, comment, and share. Right now, click on the subscribe button. Click on it right now. Yeah, thank you so much. God bless you. So we are going to be going into this topic. This is one of the most topic that is very common and a little bit complex for most students. But in this video, I'm going to make it very easy for you. We are going to be looking at the basic terms you should understand about arithmetic progression. We are going to be looking at how the formulas were being derived, and we are going to be looking at the introduction aspect of arithmetic progression, looking at some questions, and by the end of this video, you would be able to solve questions on arithmetic progression, different questions of different kinds. So let's start. Let's go into the real deal. I want you to be relaxed, stay relaxed. There is no cause for alarm. All right, that's why I'm here. So, what is the first thing you should know about arithmetic progression? Now, basically, we should understand certain fundamentals of arithmetic progression, and one of it is going to be the terminologies used. So we have what we call our T1, which is the same thing as what? Coming. Our T1, which is the same thing as what? Our A. And we have our T2, which is the same thing as our what? A plus D. We have our T3, which is the same thing as what? A plus 2D. We have our T4, which is the same thing as what? A plus 3D. We have our T5, which is the same thing as what? A plus 4D. Can you see that progression? So this is actually the first time of an AP. The first term, and we have the second term. Let me just use the short form for this. The second term, we have the third term, and we have the fourth term. Can you see that? Very simple. We have the fifth term. Okay, let's say this progression continues down the line. We are going to get to a point where we are going to have our nth term, which is also the same thing as our last term, which is going to be what? A is given by the formula A plus open bracket n minus 1 close bracket D. You're going to have this at the end of the day. So this is going to be our nth term, which is the same thing as last term. So nth term, you either call it nth term or what? Or last term. Regardless, anyhow you want to call it, it's fine. So these are the basic fundamentals that you need to solve any question on arithmetic progression. You have to know that your T1 is the same thing as your A. So our A is our first time. Our D is what we refer to as our what? Our common difference. Our common difference. And how do we get our common difference D? We get it by simply doing our T2 minus T1, or we can also say T4 minus T3, or we can also say T5 minus T4. Just make sure it's following each other. Any one of the terms you use to subtract each other, provided they are consecutive, meaning they follow one another, you can actually use it to find your common difference. So for AP, we use what? Common difference, but for GP, we use what? Common ratio. That is one of the difference we have for the both. And one of the things you are going to realize here is that when you look at our operation in this case, we are having what? We are having plus. But when you are dealing with geometric progression, you will notice that your progression is going to be in an exponential form. But in this case, you will notice that this progression is actually in addition form. So that is one of the tricks to know the difference. Peradventure you forget the difference between your AP and your GP. So looking at every of the terms that we have right here, this is not just a magic. This is not just something we just imagine to write. This is something that we're able to get by certain fundamentals using this formula. So look at this. Imagine I say that my n equals 1. And I apply, that means anywhere I see n in this particular formula right here, which is the n term of an AP, let me put the value of 1. So that means at the end, we're going to have something that looks like this. We're going to have T. This is going to look like T1 equals A plus open brackets. We're going to have our n is now what? 1, then minus 1, following that formula, close bracket, what? D. So our T1 is going to be equals what? A plus 1 minus 1 is what? 0 times D. Eventually, this will give us T1 equals what? A plus what? Definitely, 0 times D is going to give us what? 0. So definitely, our final answer is going to be T1 equals what? A. And that is how we got what we have here as the first time of our arithmetic progression. Is that clear to us? All right, let's assume our n to take another value. Sorry to divide my board. So that means we're going to have n equals what? N equals 2. Is it getting interesting? If you know it's getting interesting, click on the subscribe button. Don't finish this video. Don't exhaust this video without clicking on the subscribe button. Thank you. So let's take our n to be 2 using that same formula. That means we're going to have T2 equals A. Sorry, so that is not going to look like T2 equals what? A plus open bracket. Our n is now what? 2 minus 1. Sorry. Minus 1, close bracket D. So we're going to have T2 will be equals what? A plus 2 minus 1 is definitely going to give us what? 1 times D. So we're going to have T2 will be equals what? A plus 1 times D is going to give us D. And that is how we got our value of T2 to be what? A plus D. If you continue by applying this same rule and saying when n equals what? 3, it's going to be T3 equals what? A plus what? 3 minus 1, close bracket D. We're going to have T3 equals what? A plus 3 minus 1 gives us what? 2 times D. And at the end, we're going to have T3 equals what? A plus what? 2D. And this is going to definitely continue like that on and on till we get to the nth term of an arithmetic progression. So you can try that for T5, for T6, T7, T8, T9, as much as you can, just to be very sure. So another trick for this, if you don't have to go through all of substituting the value of n into the formula for the n term of an AP, you can just think of it. T1 equals A. You should know that. Then T2 is going to be equals A plus D. T3 is going to be equals A plus 2D. Can you see that the value of D is increasing down the line? while your A remains constant. Your first term doesn't change, it remains the same. So our T4 is going to be A plus 3D, T5 is going to be A plus 4D. So look at it, T5, 4D, T5, 4D, T4, 3D, T3, 2D, T2, D. Can you see that? That's another trick. So I've been able to help you go through that. All right, so I think we've been able to cover up how to find our common difference and how to figure out our formula and all. So let's move to taking certain questions. But before then, I would like to just give a very brief example. Permits me to clean my board. Okay, good. So let me use number from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. First up. So what's going to be the value of our A in this case? Our A is going to be what? 1. Because this is our first term. This is our first term. And then our second term, which is going to be T2, is going to be what? Is going to be 2. Our T3 is going to be what? 3. Moving on and on like that. Then our last term for this sequence or for this progression is going to be what? Tn, which is going to be what? 7. Now another letter you can use to represent Tn for some questions that may be very tricky is the same thing as what? Our Tn is the same thing as what? Our small letter L. So sometimes your last term is given as this and it can be given as this. Anyhow it is, you should know that this is equal to this. All right, so let's move to solving some questions from the Jamb. Okay, let's move to question number 1. Question number 1 says the 5th term of an AP is 24 and the 11th term is 96. Find the first term. Find the first term. So how do we interpret this question? We interpret this question simply by writing out our parameters. The 5th term, that is T5, of an AP is 24. Okay, is 24. And we know that our T5 is the same thing as what? A plus 4D from our sequence, which is 24. Then the 11th term is 96. 11th term, that means T11 is what? 96. Our 11th term is given to be A plus what? 10D equals what? 96. Okay, having this, so they said we should find our what? Our first term. That means we are looking for A. Our A is our missing value. So how are we going to find that? Since we have this, we've interpreted this way, let's write that out to form 2 equations. That means we're going to have A plus 4D as our first equation. You call this equation 1. Then you have A plus what? 10D. You call this what? Equation 2. Okay, good. So what do we do next? We're going to solve this simultaneously. That is how we are going to do that. So to reduce the stress, you can actually do it in a very simple step. Simply, you are going to what? Subtract. Let me write that down. Subtract equation 1 from 2. If you subtract equation 1 from 2, what are you going to have? That means we are going to do A minus A, of which we are going to have what? 0. So this is cancelling out by the time we do that. Then we're going to have 10d minus 4d, which is going to be what? That is going to be 6d. And then we're going to have 96 minus 34, of which we're going to have 72. So if we do this, what are we going to have next? So we are going to divide both sides, that is both sides of this equation, by 6. We divide by 6, we divide by 6. So we're going to divide 72, 6 here, 1, and then 6 in 72 is going to be what? 12. So we have d equals 12. That means our common difference is 12. So we do not need to write that out, since that is not what we are looking for. We are looking for a. So how do we get a? You see, to get a, or let me use this, to get a, you see, put d into any of the equation, but you can go with the simplest equation. The simplest equation, the equation with the smaller number here, is equation 1. So you can say put d into equation 1. Now we know that the value of our d is actually 12. So if you put our equation 1 is a plus 4d equals what? 24. So if we put d into equation 1, that means we are going to put 12 into anywhere we see d in the equation 1. So what are we going to do? So we're going to have a plus 4, open bracket, our d is now 12, equals what? 24. So a plus 4 times 12 is going to give us what? 48 equals 24. So our a is going to be equals 24 minus 48. So our a is going to be what? 24 minus 48 is going to give us minus 24. That is going to be a negative number. So it's possible you have a negative value for your a. And provided we follow the right step, that is going to be our final answer for this question. So our first term is what? Minus 24. Done with. Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 2. They said the third term of an arithmetic progression is minus 9 and the seventh term is minus 29. Find the 10th term of the progression. Okay, let's interpret this. The third term of an arithmetic progression, that is our T3, equals what? Minus 9. And the seventh term, our T7, equals minus 29. Okay, they said we should find the 10th term. Now our T3 is the same thing as a plus what? 2d equals minus 9. So we are following the same step. Our T7 is the same thing as a plus 6d equals minus 29. So how do we find our 10th term? That's our T10 can only be gotten by finding the value of our a, because our T10 is the same thing as a plus 9d. So we cannot get the value of T10 without, first of all, looking for the value of a and finding the value of d as well. So how do we get it? Just like we did previously, we're going to find our common difference, then we'll find the value of a, and then we get our answer. So let's bring down those two equations together. So we're going to have a plus 2d, plus 2d equals what? Minus 9. And then we have a plus 6d equals minus 29. Okay, so how do we get the value of d here? This is going to be our equation 1. This is going to be our equation 2. So we say subtract equation 1, that's the smaller one, from 2. So having done that, we're going to have a minus a, and we're going to have 6d minus 2d, which is going to give us what? 4d. Okay, then we're going to have minus 29 minus 9. You have to be careful here because you are dealing with a negative sign. So this is going to give us minus 29 plus 9, which is going to give us what? Minus 20. So in that bit, that means our answer over there is going to be what? Is going to be minus 20. So if we do the division of this, we're going to have 4d equals what? Minus 20. If we divide both sides by the coefficient of d, which is 4, 4 cancel 4, 4 here 1. 4 in this is what? Minus 5. Then our d equals what? Minus 5. But d isn't what we are looking for. We have to look for our a as well, so we can find our t10. So to get a, what do we say? We say we look for the smallest of the equation. We can say put d into equation 1. What is our equation 1? A plus what? 2d equals minus 9. So let's put the value of minus 5, which is d, into equation 1. So we can now have a plus 2 open brackets minus 5 equals minus 9. So a will be plus 2 minus 5 is going to give us what? Minus 10. Plus times minus gives us minus. 2 times 5 gives us what? 10. Peradventure, you have to do that. So you have to be careful with your signs. So this is going to give us what? Minus 9 equals minus 9. So would collect like terms here. So we can now have a equals what? Minus 9. Then plus 10. When 10 crosses over to the other side, it becomes when minus 10 crosses over to the other side, it becomes plus 10. So a here is going to give us what? Minus 9 plus 10 is going to give us 1. So I haven't gotten this. We have a value of a and we have a value of d here. So it's very easy for us to conclude that our T10 from the formula a plus 9d will be what? T10 equals 1 plus 9, open brackets, the value of our d, which is minus 5. So we can have T10 equals 1 plus times minus gives us minus. 9 times 5 gives us what? 45. So T10 will be equals what? 1 minus 45 is going to give us what? Minus 44. And this will be our final answer for this question. All right, if you know you are learning anything at all, don't forget to subscribe. Press the subscribe button right now. Refer your friends so they can benefit from this. All right, moving on to the next question. We have question number 3. Question number 3 says, what is the nth term of the sequence 2, 6, 12, 20? That means we are looking for the nth term, which is what? That is gonna be Tn equals a plus n minus 1 close bracket d. So what are the two things we need to solve this question? We need our a, and we need our d. We need our d to find our nth term. So what is our a from this question? Our a is actually 2, which is the first term. 2, and our d is going to be our common difference, which is what? T2 minus what? T1. Like I said the other time, T2 is what? Our T2 is 6, and our T1 is the same thing as 2. So that means we're going to have 6 minus 2, which is going to give us what? 4. So our D equals 4 here, and our A equals what? 2. So we can now find our nth term, which is Tn equals what? Our A is 2 plus open bracket what? N minus 1 close bracket what? 4. So we can simplify this further to give us Tn equals 2 plus. So let's use the 4 to open this bracket here by expansion. 4 times n is going to give us 4n. Then 4 times minus 1 is going to give us what? Minus 4. Okay, minus 4. And then what are we going to have? Let's simplify for that. N over the same thing as what? 4n. 2 minus 4 is going to give us minus 2. That's minus 2. So our final answer for this question is going to be 4n minus 2. That means our nth term for this sequence is 4n minus 2. Okay, don't be tired, don't be tired, don't be tired. Let's move forward to the next number. We're almost done. This question says the first term of an AP is equal to thrice the common difference. That means T1 is or equals A. Okay, just to be on the safer side, I had to use the both letters to represent it. So we can use any of the letter depending on the question. Is equal to thrice the common difference. Thrice the common difference. What is the sixth term of the AP? We're looking for T6. If the common difference is 8, if our D is what? 8. So that means our T6 is giving us what? A plus 5D. That means we need our A and we need the value of our D to find our T6. Very simple question. So having known that our D is equals what? 8. Having known that our D is equals 8, we can easily find our A, which is what? 3D. So let's put D into, let me use equation 1. Let me call this equation 1. So we're going to have A equals 3 times 8. Our A will be what? 24. So we've gotten our value of A. We need to find, okay, we have our value of D already. So we don't need to find that. Our value of D is here. Our value of A is here. So that means it's very easy for us to find the value of our T6 to be what? Let's write out the formula first. So we have T6 will be equals 24 plus 5, open brackets, our D, which is what? 8. All right, moving on, we're going to have T6 will be equals 34 plus 5 times 8 gives us 40. So we're going to have T6 equals 40 plus this is going to give us 64. So our T6 is going to be what? 64. So we are done with that question. Moving on to the next question, which is going to be the last question we are going to be solving for this video. Okay, I think we've been able to come to an end. That's a repetition of the previous question. Okay, so we've come to the end of today's class. I wanted to try this particular question right here. The question says the nth term of a sequence is given by -1 and then we have n minus 2 times 2n minus 1. Find the sum of the second and third terms. Okay, this question is intended to be in this form. Let's rewrite this. I'm coming. I need us to rewrite this again. So the original question goes thus. Yes, raised to the power n minus 2 times 2, then raised to power n minus 1. This is the original question here. So we are asked to find the nth term of this sequence given by this equation right here, and we are asked to find the sum of the second and third term. So we are looking for the sum of this. So the third term, we're looking for T2 plus what? T3. So solve this question and drop your answer in the comment section. I'll be checking that in the next video. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you. See you.